Greetings to everyone out there in the No DQ galaxy. Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Friday Night SmackDown for December 6th, 2019. Finally, we have some matches set for the upcoming TLC pay-per-view, which is just over a week away, believe it or not. The final WWE pay-per-view of the decade. Pretty crazy to think about. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the recap. Speaking of recaps, we opened up SmackDown with a recap of what happened last week when Daniel Bryan was taken out by The Fiend and then his hair was cut, or whatever Bray did under the ring. We had The Miz come out. The Miz said that he was supposed to have a Miz TV segment with Daniel Bryan, but that's not going to happen because Daniel Bryan has disappeared. He is gone. Nobody knows where he is. Miz said that he has known Daniel Bryan for a long time, and yeah, they will probably never be friends. However, Miz does know Bryan better than anyone and knows how much Bryan means to WWE and how the Yes Movement was back, and then Bray Wyatt quickly yanked that away from Daniel Bryan and the fans. Miz said that he is going to get to the bottom of this, and this led to the Firefly Funhouse interruption by Bray Wyatt. Bray said that perhaps Bryan was with him, and he might not be done with Daniel Bryan just yet. However, since Bryan can apparently not play with Bray Wyatt or The Fiend at TLC, Bray Wyatt offered The Miz the opportunity to play with The Fiend at TLC instead. We then had Miz say that that's not what this is about. This is about Daniel Bryan. And then the Rambling Rabbit showed up and told The Miz to get out while he still can. Then we had Bray Wyatt reveal that the word of the day is family. Bray talked about how he used to have a family, and we had a little shot of the Wyatt family. And then Bray said that he could have a new family, and then proceeded to show a picture of The Miz with Maurice and their kids. Then Bray asked, "Do you want to come and play with me now?" This was the first segment of SmackDown. When we came back from the commercial break, we had Miz on the phone with Maurice. He said everything is going to be fine. He told her to lock the doors, set the alarms. He said he's coming home right now. He's going to do something about this. Then we had Mandy Rose versus Alexa Bliss, who made her return last week. By the way, this was NXT referee Jessica Carr's first night on the job as part of the main roster doing the refereeing for this match. So a little bit of trivia there, perhaps for a future edition of Wrestling Trivia Challenge. Mandy Rose was yelling at Alexa, "Don't touch my face." And then an interesting moment in the match when we had Mandy Rose manage to rip out Alexa Bliss's eyelashes and then shouted, "You will never look like me." We had Sonya Deville try to interfere when Alexa made her comeback, but then Nikki Cross fought her off, and then Alexa picked up the victory with the Twisted Bliss. Backstage, we had Drake Maverick approach Dana Brooke. They talked, and Drake brought up the date with Batista, and he wants to know, what does Dave Batista have that Drake Maverick doesn't have? This led to Elias showing up once again to interrupt, basically cock block Drake Maverick, although I don't think that was going anywhere. Elias proceeded to sing a song about how Batista is a millionaire, he's tall, and as far as Drake Maverick goes, he has a better chance of getting lucky with a blow-up doll. Then Elias took another dig at Drake Maverick, saying that Drake's wife is going to wake up in Elias's bed. Drake then slapped Elias, and then Dana asked if that had really happened, Elias said no, but said that something is going to happen. When we came back from the commercial break, we had Drake Maverick in the ring. He was angry. He asked the people, "Do you think this is funny?" And they all said yes, of course. Drake said that nobody makes a mockery of him and his wife. He then called out Elias, not for a match, but a fight. So we have Drake Maverick picking a fight with Elias. Elias came out, and Drake just completely embarrassed himself. Couldn't even throw a punch at Elias. Elias then spanked Drake Maverick and punted him out of the ring. Drake tried to escape, but then Dana Brooke threw Drake back into the ring, and then Elias hit the drift away. And then Dana Brooke got in the ring, did a mock pin to Drake Maverick, and Elias made the cover 1, 2, 3. So there you go. Poor Drake Maverick continuing to be the punching bag, although, hey, he's getting TV time. So there you go. We had The Miz walking backstage, and he noticed this red hue in this room. He walked into the room and saw a picture of his family, only Miz was photoshopped with Bray Wyatt in place of him in the photo. Then we heard a voice say cheese, and that's when Bray Wyatt, as his Mr. Rogers persona, took out The Miz, gave him the Sister Abigail, and said there's no place like home for the holidays. The refs checked out Miz after the commercial break, and Miz was demanding to know where Bray Wyatt went. Gary with the $2 super chat, first one of the evening. Thank you, Gary. He says, Drake giving spanked and Roman stuff was cringing. Well, we definitely have to do the cringe moment of the night and also the spot of the night. So you guys think about some interesting moments on the show, cool spots or cringy stuff. And at the end, we're going to recap those. We had a 4-way tag team match to determine the challengers for the New Day and the SmackDown tag team titles at the upcoming TLC pay-per-view. Of course, we got a plug about New Day's podcast being the #1 sports podcast, or #1 sports entertainment podcast, whatever Michael Cole was blabbing on about. Anyways, the 4 teams, we had Ali, Shorty G, Booyakasha versus the Lucha House Party versus Heavy Machinery versus the Revival. Lucha House Party did some dives before they were quickly eliminated by the compactor courtesy of Heavy Machinery. And then when we came back, Heavy Machinery got a little bit into a groove, and we had Otis taking off his shirt, and Kofi and Big E were very excited about this, and Kofi even said, "Take it off, baby." We had Otis hit the caterpillar to Dawson, but then Wilder tagged himself in when Otis was unaware, and Otis got pinned, leading to the elimination of HM. We then had Revival be thrown into the New Day by Shorty G and Ali, and that's when New Day got angry and they were yelling at Chad Gable and Ali, Mustafa Ali. We had the commercial break. The match continued. Kofi on commentary talked about the head on a swivel. Again, I feel like Vince is feeding that line. Vince must love that head on a swivel line. I've heard Beth Phoenix use it. I've heard Corey Graves use it. I've heard Kofi Kingston use it now. Guess what? I've never heard anybody in AEW use head on a swivel. Although maybe that'll be coming up as a parody of WWE at some point. We had the Shatter Machine end the match. Shorty G got pinned after having a little bit of a hot moment. He got the ankle lock on, but no avail. Revival, they win, and we get New Day versus Revival again at the WWE TLC. And after the match, Revival cut a promo. They said that New Day will no longer be disgracing the tag team titles and the division. Wilder said that they are taking things back to the old days. They're going to win with old school tag team wrestling. And then Dawson said that New Day could go back to their podcast and complain and do all that stuff. And there you go. We got our tag team title match set up. The first official match announced on SmackDown. We did have Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin announced earlier in the day in a TLC match for the pay-per-view. Backstage, we had Roman Reigns interviewed. He said that he is going to embarrass Corbin, whether it takes a table, a ladder, or a chair. Baron Corbin's going down to the big dog. We had an advertisement for next week's Backstage. CM Punk will be back, which means I will be watching next week's Backstage. Curious to see what CM Punk thought about this SmackDown. We had another video with Sheamus saying that SmackDown has become weak and lazy. I mean, you could say it's been weak and lazy before Sheamus even got hurt, but I don't know. He said that the Celtic Warrior will be soon coming home. We then had Lacey Evans come out, and there was a recap of last week when she punched out Sasha Banks. Lacey made quick work of an enhancement talent, and then after the match, Sasha Banks came down and said she has some business to take care of. After the commercial break, we had Sasha cut a promo saying she's the blueprint, she's the leader of the women's division, Lacey Evans is pathetic, and Sasha warned Lacey to never mess with her nor Bayley again. And then Sasha crossed that line. She said that Lacey is a terrible role model to her bratty 6-year-old. Lacey was like, you better never say anything about my daughter again, and then added that she is in fact a U.S. Marine, which of course got a big pop in Lafayette, not Lafayette, what is it? What is the city called? North Carolina. Fayetteville, I think. Sorry about that. Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is also where WWE had the tribute to the troops earlier in the day, and there was a video package about the tribute to the troops. Sasha got in the ring. They had a brief confrontation. Lacey knocked her down once again, and then she walked up the ramp, and then just as we thought Lacey was going to leave on a high note, she got attacked from behind by Bayley on the stage, and the two of them, Sasha and Bayley, beat down Lacey, and Michael Cole on commentary says, you better not cross the boss. That old Vince McMahon line, I guess, is now being used for Sasha Banks. Then we had the main event of the evening, Roman Reigns versus Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler was yelling at Reigns, doing his usual routine, saying, do something, Roman. There was a little bit of a Let's Go Roman chant, but it was mostly kids. Roman did get a pretty good reaction on this show. Baron Corbin came out during the match. He was on his throne. He came out there to watch everything. Reigns, of course, kicked out of the zigzag. What a shocker. And then Baron Corbin got off of his throne and he got on the apron. Reigns ended up giving the Superman punch to Corbin. Ziggler tried to roll up Reigns. Did not work. Reigns quickly hit the spear and picked up the victory over a very game Dolph Ziggler. After the match, Baron Corbin attacked Reigns. Reigns started to fight off, but you had Corbin's security guys, aka your random indie wrestlers out there, trying to attack Roman Reigns, and Roman kept fighting everybody off. At one point, somebody under the ring tried grabbing Roman's foot. Maybe we'll have a new mystery attacker storyline. We know how well that last one went. Then we had Dolph Ziggler hit the super kick onto Roman Reigns, and Ziggler had these handcuffs. He handcuffed the big dog around the ring post, and the security was restraining Roman. And then Ziggler brought out some dog food, and they proceeded to pour the dog food on Roman Reigns as a way of humiliating him and making him look bad, embarrassing him in front of the world. Crowd was booing this. I guess it was getting good heat. I know a lot of people on social media did not like the close to this SmackDown. So I'm curious to see what you guys thought about this in the chat room. The Game is on 100 with a $5 super chat says, Corbin got his heat tonight for the TLC match against Reigns with the dog food. Reigns wins at TLC is a spoiler, and also a guarantee? Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to say it right now. We'll be doing the predictions video next week, but yeah, I would bet my money on Roman Reigns. Again, number one, it's hard to bet against Roman, and number two, WrestleMania season's coming up, so I don't think Roman's losing to Baron Corbin. But they could always do some sort of shenanigans. It is a TLC match where Reigns does not have to get pinned, so you could do something. But I'm still going to go with Roman Reigns. I'm just throwing that out there right now. Roman's going to win at TLC. I mean, Corbin is Corbin. You know, they're not gonna build up Corbin for a main event match at WrestleMania. Too close to WrestleMania. If this was like June, I'd say, yeah, maybe Baron Corbin would have a chance of beating Roman Reigns. So that was SmackDown, everybody. Let's go ahead and do the letter grade for the show. I enjoyed it for the most part. I thought it was a solid SmackDown. We finally got some matches set up. By the way, we do have Bray Wyatt versus The Miz set up for the TLC pay-per-view. So I guess WWE is going to keep it a mystery what's going on with Daniel Bryan. Probably save the Bryan match for the Royal Rumble. What's interesting to me is on the graphic, it shows regular Bray Wyatt, not The Fiend versus The Miz. So is it going to be Miz versus regular Bray Wyatt? So I'm curious to see what that's all about, or maybe next week we'll have a further development in the storyline. But I did enjoy SmackDown overall. I'm going to give it a B-. Not a great show, but pretty solid. The ending, I mean, say what you will about it, but I mean, it got heel heat, and I feel like it was good heat, at least on television to the TV viewers. I don't know about your diehard fans, what they thought about it. It seems like it was a pretty negative reaction to the end on social media. Mike B gives it a C. Noah Foster with a C. Tic Tat Tat with a B-. Kev Dog with a B-. Caitlin gives it a C+. Christopher Mace also gives it a C+. CC Drink with a B. Michael Wayne with a B. Curtis Butler with a C-. Gary with a C-. And then the Game is on 100 with a C+ for the ending. So mixed bag. I'm seeing some B-, a lot of C's for this show. Ken terminated by Google. Thank you, Ken, with a $10 super chat. Says, I don't know if you talked about it, but do you think Seth Rollins and CM Punk criticizing or trashing each other is a work? I know you talked about a WrestleMania Dream match in your review video. I don't think it's a work. I mean, if I had to bet money on it, I would say it's not a work. There's always a chance CM Punk could agree to do a WrestleMania match. He could agree in January. Anything's possible. Never say never, of course. But I feel like this is just CM Punk working for Fox, and WWE's trying to get something going here to get CM Punk motivated to come back and wrestle again or talk to WWE. CM Punk saying he hasn't talked to WWE. I just find that weird. Like, I don't know why WWE would mention CM Punk and do all these little teasers online if they hadn't spoken with him about a return. It's just weird to me. I think WWE wants him back, and I would think that they would have called him by now. So when CM Punk says he hasn't spoken to WWE at all, I find that a little difficult to believe, you know? I feel like they've had to at least had some kind of conversation. And of course, if money talks, as it tends to do, I feel like there's a decent chance we will see CM Punk again. But for the time being, I don't know if there's something to this, if CM Punk and Seth Rollins are setting something up. I feel like what Rollins said on Backstage this week was pretty much just putting it to pasture and just moving on from that. But yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, CM Punk could end up showing up in January, and people will say, oh, look, they were in cahoots all along. This was all a setup. They had this planned out. You know, you never know for sure what's going on with CM Punk, and he could show up. He might not show up. He might be working it. He might not. That's wrestling. The key is to keep you guessing and wonder what is a work and what's not a work. But if I had to bet, I would say that what Seth Rollins said was not a work. Maybe he's trying to set up something, but he's going into business for himself, you know. Anyways, guys, that's SmackDown. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you liked the video, please give it a like or share. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and turn on your notifications to get updates as they become available. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the Decade Awards. Myself and Jeff Meacham, we've been doing videos giving our thoughts on the categories. Go over to NoDQ.com and vote. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time.